It's a daily drop from SHW Offroad, presented by yours truly. I'm Jake. SHW Offroad is an internal vehicle storage solutions manufacturer here in the U.S. We handcraft them here in Kentucky. But today, we're not talking about SHW Offroad. We're talking about rooftop tents. So if you've been on the channel before, welcome back. If you're new, the daily drop is a series we do every single day. So like and subscribe and join us, because every single day we do these little knowledge drops all about vehicle-based adventure travel. Today, again, we're talking about rooftop tents. More specifically, we're going to talk about the downfalls. So let's dive right in. One of the biggest downfalls of a rooftop tent is the form factor. Rooftop tents usually stay on the truck year-round, no matter how much you use them. A lot of people only use them a few times out of the year, but they stay on your truck usually year-round, unless you want to go through the hassle of removing them and reinstalling them when you need them. So with that comes a lot of different consequences, right? So a rooftop tent is typically pretty bulky. It's on the top of the vehicle, so it's going to affect things like miles per gallon. It's going to affect your handling perhaps more than you realize. A lot of guys will run a rooftop tent on their vehicle every single day, and then they take it off and they're surprised at how different their braking feels and suspension around corners and stuff. So you're really going to hurt miles per gallon. It's going to hurt your vehicle handling, but also having the tent on the truck year round is really hard on the tent. And rooftop tents are an investment, right? So keep them on the truck year round. You've got UV exposure, you've got rain, moisture, all that kind of stuff. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, these rooftop tents can be bulky. Now, there are good ones, right? There are super low profile ones that have less of a mileage hit as far as fuel efficiency is concerned, but they can only be so light, right? So almost all of them are going to affect your handling and braking and just the way the vehicle behaves in some manner. And all of them are going to take a beating living on your vehicle year round. So keep that in mind. That is a big downfall of rooftop tents, no matter which ones you are looking at. Number two is space. Typically, a rooftop tent, you have more confined space than, say, a ground tent. A lot of ground tents anyway. This isn't true for all rooftop tents, right? There are rooftop tents that can hold a family, but usually they're very, very bulky. They are difficult to set up, and they're even heavier than a standard rooftop tent. But they're out there, and if you can live with the pros and cons, then they might be worth it. But most or a lot of rooftop tents are made for a couple and maybe a dog or a small child and stuff like that. So you got to watch your space with rooftop tents. Third is access. Rooftop tents can be difficult to get in and out of, especially in the middle of the night in the dark, especially if you have kids and dogs, right? Putting a tent 6-7 feet in the air and expecting your kids and your dogs to climb up and down as needed can become a pain, especially if maybe you're a little bit older and you have to get up frequently throughout the night. It gets old pretty fast. So keep that in mind as well. Climbing a ladder to get into your sleeping space is not for everyone, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere in the dark. It can become quite dangerous. So keep that in mind. Access can be limiting. Fourth, you must fold up your tent to move your vehicle, right? A lot of them, or almost all of them, you can't have a base camp. It's tethered to your vehicle. So the moment you want to run into town or just leave to explore, you've got to break down camp to do so. Now, thankfully, a lot of these rooftop tents are pretty easy to put up and take down, but it is a hassle. It takes time and it takes effort, especially if maybe it's been rainy or something, or the tent's dirty from a dusty climate or something. So keep in mind, when you run a rooftop tent, your sleeping quarters are tethered to the vehicle, so it's a little harder to be nimble in the moment for these quick trips. So keep that in mind as well. Costs is another big one for a lot of people. A good rooftop tent is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. A good one. There are cheaper ones out there. There are brands that make affordable rooftop tents, but they come with a lot of compromises. The cheaper the rooftop tent, usually the cheaper the material, thinner canvas, they're harder to set up, they're heavier. And all the things that we're talking about with the cons of a rooftop tent usually are multiplied as you go lower in price. So you pay for you pay for what you get when it comes to rooftop tents. They're expensive. There are other cons I'm sure that other people have thought of, but that's my top list. It's a quick one. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about some of the things I love. Even though I've got a laundry list of things I hate about rooftop tents, I still run one. So tomorrow you can find out why I run one. And I'm going to also talk about different designs of rooftop tents, some of my favorites and why they are my favorites, and some of the different options out there. So tons of good stuff coming tomorrow. Make sure you join me then. Otherwise, thanks for checking in today and for watching the Daily Drop. Alrighty, bye-bye.